In an undisclosed location, two people are being kept prisoner. One of them is wearing military-like clothing, while the other has a simple tracksuit on him. The military guy begins speaking, expressing his apology to the professor. The professor rebukes this apology, saying that all of this happened because of him. The soldier starts thinking about the events that got him in this situation, expressing his anger at the informant who had betrayed them, saying that the enemy force was much larger than anticipated, and that they knew their route and attack timings perfectly. This was a trap from the very beginning. Some clanks happened beyond the door, and it shortly opens, one of the guards throwing another soldier into the holding cell, who we find out is named Sergeant Kim. The other soldier is visibly angry at seeing another soldier treated this way, and gets up to spout insults at their captor. The guard saying something in a language that we can't understand, and promptly bashes the soldier's head with an assault rifle. We get a peek at this captor, showing us that he is of African descent, meaning this whole ordeal might be happening in one of the many war-torn countries in that continent. Kim asks the other soldier if he's okay, calling him lieutenant. The lieutenant says he's fine, and asks about the other troops, who Kim says that they were dragged off someplace else. More clanks happened outside the door, and again, it shortly opens after. One of the guards looking down at them, that's when he falls to the ground, knocked out by a person who was behind him, who asks if Lieutenant Kang Ham-chan is here. The lieutenant is surprised to hear Korean coming from this stranger's mouth, and asks who he is. The stranger says that he is here to rescue them, and they all begin following him. We see the results of this stranger's arrival, with multiple guards knocked out cold, Kang expressing his surprise. Kang then asks the stranger about his division, and how many people he is with. The stranger says that he cannot disclose this information, and that he is alone. Kang is again surprised by this, thinking that how could a single person do this? Stealthily, too. A door suddenly opens and a guard comes out, who is reaching for his gun after he saw them. Kang is prepared to open fire, but before he can do anything, the stranger sprints at the guards and incapacitates the first one with 2 swift blows, and taking the other one out with a knife throw. The stranger talks with the soldiers, saying that they will increase their pace, and that he will take care of the enemies. Kang agrees, annoyed at the fact that he's basically treating them like baggage. The stranger moves swiftly, and quickly defeats any guards that try to stop him. Kang noticed that there will be multiple enemies beyond the next corner, and that the stranger will need help with this one. The stranger, however, keeps moving, and dashes in front of the guards, silently taking all of them out. Kang is shocked at his disregard for life, saying that he is a true monster, but he is too reckless, and it's clear that he's not from the military. They make it outside, and the stranger tells them to wait here for 1 minute. Kang is puzzled by this, but notice the other soldiers behind them, who are clearly out of breath, showing the stranger's ability to observe. Kang notices the stranger's black pupils, and his clumsy but overall good Korean. Kang asks if he is Korean, but the stranger doesn't respond, and waits a bit until saying that time is up, and they begin moving again. Kang wondering if he is correct. After a while, they make it to a clearing, where the other soldiers who were captured are waiting for them. Both parties happy that they reunited. Kang asks what happened to them, and they say that the stranger also saved them, and told them to wait here. The stranger proclaims that this is where they part ways, and that if they go southwest there will be people waiting for them. Kang expresses his gratitude, but the stranger says there's no need for thanks, and that he simply carried out a request. Kang confirms his suspicion of him being a mercenary, and offers him a handshake, saying that even if it was a request, he would still like to give his thanks. The stranger looks at Kang's hand, and that's when an explosion comes out of the bushes, surprising them both. The stranger screams for everyone to get down, an explosion occurring right as he finished his sentence. Kang gets discombobulated by the explosion, but he manages to survive, saying that the explosion was from mortar rounds. He looks for his people and finds that they are safe, the explosion having missed them. Suddenly, gunshots can be heard, and we see the stranger retaliating at the attackers. Kang is extremely surprised by his appearance, and rightly so, because the stranger looks just like a teenager, showing us that he is quite young. It cuts to 6 months later, and we see the outside of a school. Inside, a teacher is presenting a new student to a class, who is the stranger that helped the soldiers escape. While presenting himself, we finally get his name, Yu Ijin. Inside the school, a girl thinks about her brother. Her thinking gets cut short after a girl comes into class screaming about a new student, who is apparently very good-looking. The girl knows that they are talking about her brother, the brother she never expected to be alive due to a plane crash that occurred while he was inside. Inside an airport, she looks longingly at Ijin, who we find out is her brother. Next to him is an old man, who is gently touching his face while crying, expressing his surprise and happiness at him returning alive. The girl questions if that is really her brother. That's when Ijin looks at her and gently smiles at her, saying that she must be Dayun. Her thinking is interrupted by a girl, who is annoyed at Dayun for ignoring her for so long. The girl demands Dayun's gym clothes later during PE, and asks if he brought them. Dayun says that she did, but if she gives them to the girl, what will she wear? The girl scoffs at Dayun and calls her insane for talking back to them, slapping her across the head. The girl is clearly bullying Dayun and asks if she wants to get beaten up in front of everyone to the point of crying again, showing us that this bullying has gone on for a while. We cut back to the class that Ijin is attending, where the teacher is still presenting him to the class, saying that he was living abroad for personal reasons, and that they should help him adjust to his new life. The girls are all quite infatuated with him. The teacher tells him to take a seat in an empty seat, and he obliges. While walking to his seat, a guy with red hair and an orange tracksuit glares at him, wondering why people are fawning over him, and that he looks pretty weak. Big words coming from someone that looks like he's trying to cosplay a Oompa Loompa. The guy tries to humiliate Ijin by trying to trip him, but Ijin notices instantly and stops. The guy is surprised by this, thinking that he timed it perfectly. Ijin glares at him, which annoys him. That's when Ijin thinks about what he discussed with Kong, the lieutenant. Kong told him to avoid fighting while living in Korea, and Ijin obliges, saying that he won't engage in battle if he doesn't have enough data about the place, and that he has no intention of moving too hastily and getting killed. Ijin says that he is a professional who lived on the battlefield for 10 years, quite a lot considering his age. Kang stops him from his rant, saying that's not why he's telling him this, and more so for his opponent, expressing his worry for anyone he faces. The teacher noticed that Ijin is standing still, and asks why he stopped moving. Ijin apologies, and continues walking to the seat. The guy says that Ijin is scared out loud, but Ijin ignores him. The teacher tells the student next to Ijin to take care of him, and we find that the student is named Park Yuncheon. Yuncheon obliges and exchanges greeting with Ijin. Yuncheon warns Ijin about the person who tried to trip him, who is named Lee Jaehyun. He says to be careful around him and his friend, Ju Hyukjin, who is now chatting with Lee. Ijin thanks him for all the information. That's when the math teacher walks into class and begins the lesson. Ijin notices the people around him, some sleeping, some laughing at something on the phone, and some are outside in gym clothes. He thinks about his mercenary days, and we see a glimpse of the hellish training he went through, noting that this country is peaceful while looking into the sky. School ends, and we see Dayun walking to the school gates. She spots Ijin, who is waiting for her. She is quite surprised by this. Ijin asks if she wants to go home together, and she obliges. While walking back, a silence falls on them. Ijin saying that this must be quite awkward. Dayun saying that it's not really that awkward, only just a little. Ijin says that there's no need to be so flustered, and that he feels the same. He was only 9 during the incident, meaning that he barely has memories of her or their grandfather, saying that it must be worse for her since she was only 7. This means that Ijin is 19, and Dayun is 17. They walk silently for a while, but one of girls who was bullying her spots Dayun, who gets nervous, thinking about what she should do. The girl taunts Dayun, asking who the boy next to her is, mocking her by saying it must be her boyfriend, and that even she can date. Dayun jumps at the notion, saying that it's her brother, the girl surprised by this notion. Ijin asks if she's a friend, and Dayun sheepishly says that she is. The girl gets annoyed by this, and asks Dayun if she is her friend. Dayun is visibly shaking, and the girl asks again. Ijin stares at the group, one of them being angry at his staring, getting up from his seat, the other one asking if he's out of his mind. Ijin thinks that they are picking a fight, one of them slowly approaching them, proclaiming that you meet all kinds out here. He stands face to face with Ijin and says that he's only trying to act cool in front of his sister. Ijin notes all his mistakes, thinking that he's closing in the distance like it's nothing, with his weak spots exposed and without a weapon to boot. He is puzzled at his confidence, and he remembers the words of Kong, deciding to leave this guy alone. The guy, fed up with Ijin ignoring him, he grabs him by the shirt and prepares to slap him. That's when Dayun bows her head in apologies, saying that he lived